Well, welcome back to the channel, viewers. Thank you for joining me, Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, Theologist, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. Thanks for coming by. Just a reminder that the things of the sinful nature are selfishness, rebellion, carnality, unwillingness to submit to God's will, which is relative to the relationship, depraved, hatred, unforgiving, morally corrupt, uncontrolled fleshly desires, pride, guilt, hate, righteousness, and not born of God. Many of you have gotten into a situation where the relationship has devalued, has disintegrated, has gone downhill. Let's go into Proverbs 23 verse 6 and see what we find as we continue our journey with psychology through theology relative to relationships. Do not eat the bread of a stingy person, and do not crave their delicacies, for they are keeping track inwardly, counting the cost. Eat and drink, they say to you, but their heart is not with you. You will vomit up what little you have eaten and waste your pleasant words. Ladies and gentlemen, this has got all the attributes of a toxic relationship. Somebody's gone toxic in the relationship. They're not being transparent. They're not resolving. They've got resentment. They're keeping track of all the little things that are happening now. They're becoming stingy in their graciousness. And you're being warned to be aware of these things. They're still coming. They're still bringing to the relationship, but their heart is not with you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is powerful. When I used to help cult members, they'd come out of the cults and I'd get to come alongside some of these people many years ago now. One of the hardest things to try and understand was the fact that they were physically going to the meetings, but they were mentally out of the organization. They were mentally gone. They did not want to be there, but they'd still go because they didn't want to lose family members and things like this. So they were physically in, but mentally out. Now, a lot of people do this in their relationships. They still turn up, but their heart is fading away from you. And this is commonly called in the narcissism world, not that this is a narcissist, this is just a covert toxic person, possibly a narcissist, as the devalue stage. They're stringing you along. They're not being transparent. They're trying to keep you trauma bonded. They're trying to keep you bonded, but they're keeping track inwardly about how much effort they're having to make to keep you interested, because narcissists become lazy. Sinful people become lazy. Now, they're trying to manipulate you, but really, in their heart, they're not with you. A lot of people have supply on the outside, other people on the outside that they're getting emotional investment from, and the possibility of physical activity by way of unresolved. That's what they'll do. But do not eat the bread of these people. You've got to be able to recognize the covert sinner, the covert toxic person, because they will be keeping track of what you're not doing for them. And you'll eat and drink, and they'll say to you, but in their heart, they're not with you. It can come as a shock, because people know how to display themselves, present themselves in a way in which it appears that everything's all right, but that's usually because you're not getting the read. You're not feeling your gut. You're not going with your gut. See this? You'll vomit up what little you have eaten. You're not going with your gut, and you're wasting your intimacy. You're wasting yourself on this person. It all looks good, doesn't it? But it's not. Do not eat the bread of a stingy person. This is an emotionally stingy person. They starve you emotionally. They break you down emotionally. They make you keep trying to get more out of them, more. But don't try and crave this person's attention, because they're keeping track of how much effort you're making, and they're trying to boost you on. Eat and drink. Come on, more. But their heart's not for you. They're just leading you on. They're dangling. This is where you get the saying, dangling the carrot. Here. And once, see, you've got to follow your gut. You have got to follow your gut at this point. Here, where they're going, eat and drink. Eat and drink. This is reflective of the covert female narcissist in Proverbs, back in Proverbs 9. Eat and drink, she says. But they do not know the debtor there. So, you have to be awake. See, this is trying to awaken people to what can happen to you in the relationship world. You're delivering yourself. You're doing all the right things. You're being transparent. You're cooperating. You're trying to, be a good partner and everything. But the person's not with you. They're deceiving you. They're taking your intimacy, and they're keeping track of how much fuel you have left. Because as soon as you start to run out of fuel, and I've had girls like this, because there's not a lot of men my age that can function. There'd be a few, but not. Most of them are taken. They're counting how you are performing. They're counting how committed you are. They're seeing how bonded you are. They're seeing how much they can get out of you. A lot of people lose their money. They lose their houses. They get sick. They get robbed. They get abused, bashed. This is that sort of person. This is the selfish man that wouldn't share what he had, that Jesus talked about, and he brought himself, his own soul down. Do not eat the bread of a stingy person. This is men and women. I remember a woman I met up at Cessnock, and I went back to her place that night. She invited me around that week. I went around, and I don't know what it was she cooked. I don't know. I think it was taste. I couldn't eat it. It was horrible. She couldn't cook to save herself. And just the way that she presented it was so careless. I just thought, no. And I just got up and walked out. Got the phone calls. What happened? I just said no. Do not eat the bread of a stingy person. Do not eat the bread of a stingy person. This person is only using you for supply. Do not crave their delicacies, because this is the funny thing about narcissism. They know how to offer themselves. They know what the needs are of a person, right? They can physically present, right? But inwardly, they're not with you. And I've had several of these ladies. They know how to physically present, and they'll do all the nice sexy stuff. Oh yeah. And they'll make you crave it. That's where you've got to be wise and mature. But you're not going to get the emotions. You're not going to get the attachment. Oh no, you're not going to get the attachment. You might think they're as in love with you as what you are with them, right? You're craving this person. You want more of this person. You're thinking, where did they come from? And they're watching. They're watching. How much of a grip have I got on this one? But their heart's not with you. And you need to be awake. You need to follow your gut. Otherwise, you're not just going to waste your words. You're going to waste yourself, your time, and the things that you just don't get again. These people are out there. Do not eat the bread. Do not take the bait of this covert sinful person. This covert, whatever personality disorder you want to describe it as. It's a sinful person. And do not lust after them. They're getting you by the lust. They're hooking you with lust. Right? And they're keeping track of their effort. They're keeping track inwardly. Seeing how you're traveling. They're counting the cost. Is this cost worth, am I manipulating this person? Is the effort worth it? Here, more. Here, more. But they're not with you. They're deceiving you. They're using you as supply. They're putting you in their harem garage. These are the people that don't resolve anything. They triangulate you. They push you to the brink till you're emotionally exhausted. That's that point there. For the little bit you got in return, right? For all your pleasantries, the little bit you got for your return, that was waste. It was waste. You know why? Because the person that you thought's heart was with you, their heart wasn't. So let's read it one more time. Do not, okay, we're going to try and transliterate it. Do not take the bait of the covert supply seeker, and do not crave their sexuality. Okay? For they are keeping track inwardly and working out how committed you are. They'll give you more and more to keep you hooked, but they're not. Their heart is not with you. It's an outward performance. You will vomit up what little you have eaten. You will realize what's happened, and that you have wasted your pleasant self. I'm Reverend Dr. J.W. Theologist. Thank you for joining me, and bye for now.